Welcome back to another edition of the Vols for Life podcast. I'm Bob. This is Tim.
Oh.
We're going to go over Heupel's offense and does it have staying power? Is it a gimmick? We've had some people call it a gimmick. Where was we? Where are we now? And what is the future of this offense? Tim?
Well, I'll tell you what. When we look at the past, prior to this offense, it's kind of like watching Alien or Predator or some other scary movie because it keep you up at night. Pruitt averaged all of like 21.5 points his last year. And the year before that, the 2 years prior to that, I think he's somewhere in the 19 to 22 point range. Butch's last 2 years were worse than that. I think he was under 20 or right at it both years. It was scary stuff. Yeah, it's horrible stuff. There's 128-ish teams in the nation. And the best that any of those guys could do for a single year was 98. And most time he was around 110. I mean, it was atrocious. It was embarrassing to what this program has been. The lofty heights we were at. We had finally, they say you got to hit rock bottom.
We did.
But that's bottom of the quarry right there.
Yeah, it kept me up at night trying to figure out what the crap are these guys doing. How did we get here? How did a storied program like this end up with idiots like Pruitt and Butch, you know?
Well, Bob, don't sugarcoat it. I mean, they are legendary.
Yeah.
In the annals of Tennessee history.
Yeah.
That's the way I like to think of it. We'll never forget them.
Yeah.
No matter how hard we try.
Yeah. Tough times.
Yeah. But they make Pruitt and Butch. One thing they can say is when Heupel come in, he had a low bar. But he took that bar and he beat it over the heads of SEC teams all year long.
Yeah. They're scared of us. I mean, there's some concern out there. You can tell by some of the opposing fan bases. They wasn't really concerned about Pruitt and Butch. They used to make fun of those guys.
Oh, yeah.
They're not making fun of Heupel.
No, I mean, they'll have a few still that's whistling past the graveyard. But if you look at some of the boards out there, the message boards, and there's a lot of them just come on and say, hey, Tennessee found their guy.
Well,
Heupel can coach.
One way to know when things are going good is for the guys to copy what you're doing. You know, they kind of say it's a gimmick, but they're trying to mimic the gimmick.
Yeah, we know Clemson's already just come out and said they was going to try to take a lot of what we're doing. Obviously, no one's going to really truly copy Heupel's offense down to a thing. And, of course, so many people were already running up tempo. And there were other teams that was in that Baylor tree that run similar things, but no one quite does Heupel's offense.
It's a little different. It really is. They try to throw it into that run and shoot, the Baylor offense, and there's some concepts there. But Heupel takes it to another level. He's a genius when it comes to that kind of stuff. I really think this we got something special going on here. You know, like I said, is this thing does it have staying power? I absolutely think it does. You know, we've had offenses throughout the years. You've had Wishbone. I mean, you've had different kind of stuff like that.
You had the air raid that is the grandfather of this offense. And, you know, you can basically say it's still here. I mean, in some variations or another, some people would go around and look, they're doing it. The hurry-ups here. Mm-hmm. But we've had the wishbone and the veer before that and the single wing before that. Right. The pro-style offense. Mm-hmm. But now it's people are saying, okay, do we have the next thing? And they're trying to get a better handle on what Tennessee's doing. We're going to see some mimicking this coming year across the country. Hopefully not too much. I'd kind of like to keep most of it our little baby.
Yeah, the more you see of an offense, the better teams will be able to defend it and recruit to defend it. So hopefully you don't see too big of copying just yet, at least until we can up our talent level.
Well, right now, Bob, you know, we look and we saw where we're at. Now, he came in, put us top 7 the first year, an unbelievable improvement. Then what did he do for an encore? He goes out and puts the top offense in the country out there. Now, do we take a step back this year with that Hooker?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
But probably not too big a step.
I think so, yeah. I mean, he's not had the worst offense he's had, either coordinator or head coach, has been what, top 10?
Top 10.
So, to me, that's probably your bar, you know?
Yeah, your floor.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, probably your floor. If you look at where we're going, a lot of that has to do with recruiting. A lot of it has to do with a handful of other things. Let's look at what we have on the team right now, Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some really good wide receivers. We've got some talent there at running back, at quarterback.
But recruiting at a high level.
We really
the
are.
last couple of years on the offensive side. It's not surprising at all.
We got some young guys that's really good. I think it's going to be very good. Seldom, Lee Cock, Ethan Davis. These are guys there's going to be the next guys who scares the crap out of people, you know?
Well, if you can just find a decent quarterback to throw it to.
Yeah. How about number one?
Number one.
Yeah,
I guess that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nico, and I'll let you say the last name.
I don't know.
Close enough.
All right.
Now, Nico is the top quarterback in the country. He's the straw that's going to stir the drink after Joe Milton leaves for down the road. And that's a heck of a place to start any offense, let alone one that does what Heupel does around the quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
But, we're looking at, for just this coming year, I think we're leading for 2 5-star wide receivers. Because wouldn't want to be the next
and that's 2025. The 2024 guy we already got a commitment from, Merklinger.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was saying the wide receivers on that. But yes.
Wide receiver, yeah.
But, yeah. Well, let's go back to quarterbacks for just a second. We got Nico, yes. But we got others in the pipeline. Go ahead, Bob. Tell them a little bit about 24 and 25.
Yeah, Merklinger. I think he's ranked 6th quarterback. And several people that covers that area thinks he's underappreciated. So to get a guy like Nico and then follow it up with a top 5, top 6 type quarterback, that's rare.
Yeah, that's pretty strong. That's what Alabama's and Georgia's have been doing for several years now, but other programs haven't. Now we have.
Then the next class, we're in on 2 top 5 quarterbacks. Just to tell you where we're at, the number 2, 3 quarterback in the country, Boley, we told him basically kick rocks. I mean, we could have had him. He wanted to come here. It was probably between us and Kentucky. A lot of people thought we might have had the best shot at him. Well, we was like, hey.
What happened on that, I think, and of course I'm not part of the staff down there, he reclassified to 24 for this coming year. And when Merklinger took the offer, then that's all we needed. We was going to take one quarterback and his first one in the boat. So he hesitated. He blinked. Heupel didn't. Mm-hmm. We got our guy. And then, like you said, for the 25s, we got 2 guys out there that is going to be easily top 5 guys that we're probably both leading for both right at the moment.
Probably.
I doubt seriously we get both. But if we can get one of them, that's all you need.
Yeah, not bad.
Then to go that, who do they throw to? They go to wide receivers. And we got Laycock last year, top 10 guy. We got 2 guys right now, top under both 5 stars. We're probably leading for them. We're in multiple high-level 4-star wide receivers. Tight ends, Bob?
Yeah. Ethan Davis on campus right now was lighting it up in the spring game before he got hurt. I think he's a future star. I really do. Yeah. If he can stay healthy, he's had a little bit of an injury bug so far. Got hurt his senior year, and then now this. But hopefully that's not a trend there. And, Eccles.
A great athlete out of IMG Academy.
Yeah, a very good tight end. Very good tight end. And we'll probably end up getting another one before the class is up.
Yeah. Well, here's one guy we might need to step back on just for a second. And that was a late addition to this year's class.
The freak.
Yeah. Yes. Emmanuel
Okoye.
Yeah, out of Nigeria. If the numbers they say for him are real, and I say if they are because they're unbelievable, but they are being reported by an organization associated with the NFL that NFL helps runs, and he's put up numbers like a high jump, vertical jump that would have been I believe an NFL combine record, period.
Yeah.
And then a broad jump that would have been tied for number one for tight ends, I believe.
Yeah.
First, super raw, though.
Yeah, super
He
raw.
had 1 year of football, and he was discovered down in Nigeria. They took him to London. His first game, first time he ever stepped on a football field was September of last year. He got to play in 3 games. But when everybody saw this kid, Katie barred the door. If you saw him, you was after him. Yeah. Luckily, he come to the States, had 3 or 4 visits before he had to go back to London. Fell in love with UT as soon as he stepped on campus. So he's here, but he won't help us immediately. But this kid, remember the name because he'll be making some money on Sundays.
I do believe, yeah. You know, like Tim said, this year, don't really expect nothing out of him. I can't imagine a kid coming playing football 1 year. Probably don't have a great concept of football in general, probably.
No, he had none, I reckon, when he got up to London.
Played 1 year, so chances are he's probably going to redshirt this year and come next year. Hopefully you get some stuff out of him next year. Tight end's kind of a harder off player, a tougher position to play than what most people realize because you're a receiver and an offensive lineman.
Yeah, and with Heupel, you might be a fullback, and you might even throw the ball too.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah,
he has so much from his tight ends.
Yeah,
so,
Fant was a good example of what he could do with that, and I think you'll see some
if he
stuff
doesn't
this
pick
year.
that up, then they may just throw him over in defensive end and say, "Go get the quarterback."
Yeah. Either way, I think this guy's a stud. But yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we're stockpiling some high level difference makers, actual difference makers. Don't get me wrong. We've had some good players through the years, even their down years. Everybody does. But then there are the elite guys, and we are pulling some in and looking great to pull some more in.
Yeah.
So as far as the players go, the offense would have staying power as far as that goes.
So. Well, look what he's done with, let's say, top 15 level talent. I mean, he put up 52 on Alabama. 52 points on Alabama with good football players.
Yeah.
What can he do when you get these guys we just got to talk about? What do we do then? I mean, it could get ugly for Bama. I mean,
for a lot of people.
Yeah. I hope it does.
Yeah. The one problem that we had last year, obviously, it's that red team down south, the Georgia Bulldogs, and a lot of people say, well, they solved the gimmick. No. They had the answer for it, and that was a whole lot better players.
Yeah, especially at the defensive line position.
It's still a line of scrimmage game.
It really is.
In this league.
You know, the Heupel's offense.
Bob, would you wash that out of your mouth? You got a drink right there. You need to get that name out of your mouth. Don't make that mistake again, please.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah. Heupel's offense, it's really, you've heard other people say it, and we've heard us say it. If they load the box, we throw it, and if they back up, we run it. But Georgia was able to play with elite level defensive line play. They was able to basically stop the run with 5 and 6 guys and rush the passer, and was able to put 5 and 6 in the back. And you probably won't never hear me complain about reffing again, but in that game there was a lot of this going on. I mean, there was probably.
Well, it's a Will Muschamp coach defense, and that's been his calling card every place he's been. He's like a.
There should have been assault charges. Yeah. That's what I'm just going to say. Assault charges.
Well, I mean, basketball. There's coaches, and we probably have one to a degree, to be honest about it, that believe that a referee will not call every foul.
Right.
And Muschamp believes that
that's his philosophy.
It's his philosophy,
and he's right. There's something to it. I mean, You
I'm
know,
not gonna
call it one time, twice, but if we're going to do it the whole game, and they don't call it the whole time, we win.
Yeah.
And that's Muschamp's philosophy. That's the defense coordinator for Georgia right now. And, you know, that's part of it.
Yeah.
You know.
And when you got the first, you know, top 3, 4, 5 guys, seems like every year, when you got to talk about defensive linemen coming into the draft, they're a Georgia Bulldog the last 2 or 3 years. And they've kicked butt at the line of scrimmage. And that's how you beat this offense.
It is.
Which is, we're the one spot that I don't like where we're recruiting at, Bob. It worries me about the future of this is the offensive line.
We've got to do better with the offensive line. We're recruiting some high-level guys, but we don't seem to be the leader for none of them at this moment. We've got to land some of these high-level guys. We can't continue to recruit out of the portal every year, and I'm afraid that's where we're probably headed.
I mean, you can get by a little bit in the portal, these guys, but if, like Florida this year, they lost 4 guys. They've had to go to the portal. I can't imagine that they got 4 quality starters. You might get 1, and that's probably going to be it. So you better still make your hay in out of the high school ranks.
You got to develop.
Yeah. Now there is one caveat on that against most teams. Obviously, Georgia just beat you to death.
Yeah.
But most teams, you can scheme to a degree.
You can.
I mean, Bob, you know your own stuff. Well, you can even talk about it. I'll let you speak on the offensive line scheme.
Yeah, we do a little something different. Some teams have wide splits, some have narrow splits. Tennessee does some narrow splits, and the quarterback actually takes a short drop, which is unusual for a passing team that passes quite a bit.
Particularly in the deep. It goes deep.
Yeah, it really is.
But you're talking about 5, 7 drops in the NFL if you're going deep.
But I believe he goes with the narrow splits for a couple reasons. One of them is to try to keep penetration from up the middle, force them to go around. That's one reason why they don't take a deep drop. They try to make a little pocket there. And I think it kind of helps soften the blow if you don't have elite guys. Unless you got an elite guy like, say, Davis for Georgia last year, which can blow up your center, then you've got a problem. If you can physically whip those guys up front at the tackle spot, then you can really affect this offense tremendously.
But that goes with any offense.
It really does. Yeah.
That's just across the board. Has nothing to do with Heupel's offense as much. When you can just beat your man, you're going to put the brakes on any offense.
But the other reason why I think they do the narrow splits is they love to pull guards, and even I've even seen tackles even lead plays on the other side, which is something you just don't see very often.
Yeah, you're going to have guys that can get out there, and very rare that you do, and you definitely couldn't if you had wide splits. Yeah. And also these narrow splits also opens up gaps between the edge of the tackle and the wide receiver. So it opens up a lot of area right through there, and you can either run a receiver back into this area, or if you can get your running back over to that area, you've got a lot of gap. You can get to the second level pretty quickly. But the scheme helps. You don't have to have the best offensive line in the world, because it's not required to block very long. We're getting the ball out quick. Everything we're doing quick. So it helps out some, but it's still though an area that I'm concerned with.
Right, I agree.
We have to do better on that. But overall, we're recruiting well as far as players go. But the question is too, Bob, will defenses catch up?
Eventually, they might, Tim. But that's the reason why we really need to capitalize on the talent level. If we increase the talent level, then it's going to be really hard for the defenses to catch up.
Agreed on that.
I really think this offense, though, is something that you're going to see other teams continue to mimic and go forward. Kurt Herbstreit mentioned here recently that he thought this was going to be an offense that people started to copy and start running.
Who can blame them?
Clemson is copying this right now. We played this in a bowl game. We smoked them, and they realized how hard it was to defend this offense. So they were like, hey.
Well, they spent a month trying to prepare for it. And I got a feeling they had a lot of practices or a lot of meetings with a coaches sat down and go, how do we defend this?
Yeah.
And at some point, you get when the head coach is like, well, if we can't figure out how to defend it, then maybe we need to copy it a little.
Yeah, maybe we need to do this. So, yeah, I think it's got some staying power, and I think this offense is going to continue to get better with increased talent level, And
well, Tennessee's got resources that most colleges don't.
They really do.
And everything from the weight and conditioning room is top level, all the way through. We're up in that upper elite. I'm not saying we're the best. Obviously, a decade and a half of being down, donations dry up a little bit, and some things, maybe not all A+, across the board.
But that's over. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, I think it's over.
Yeah,
I think we're back, and maybe I'm a little, get a little giddy, a little pumped, whatever. But I think we are back. I think the future is
bright orange, baby.
Bright orange. I really do. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I think and believe in Heupel. I think his offense is outstanding. I think the whole program's on the rise.
And we'll touch on defense next.
We will.
I know everybody says, what about the defense? Well, we'll discuss the defense in another episode. And why we're giddy.
Yeah.
Because that has a lot to do with it.
It sure is. Well, Tim, I think that about wraps up this episode. Guys, I want you to like, subscribe, comment, talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
Talk about whatever. You'll hear back from us. And hope to see you next time.
Yeah. If I had one thing to say is go Big Orange.
That's right.